Most people don't change because of time. They change because they stop believing. They stop believing they could change. They stop believing that the best years are ahead of them. They don't even believe in their own potential. I'm here to tell you that it's your belief that will help increase your health span and longevity, but you got to start believing. And here we go. So sometime over the last 10 or 15 years, I'm just cooking through life, doing my thing, eating what I thought was kind of healthy, exercising a little bit, feeling okay. So I was kind of in that zone where I am pretty healthy. I'm healthier than the majority of my friends. At least I work out almost every day and I eat reasonably well. I sign up for an occasional Century ride. But I went to the doctor and my blood work was awful. And there were a few things that, quite frankly, scared me a little bit. So it's at that moment that I said, I better get serious about my health or I'm not going to be around much longer. So it was then that I hired a functional medicine doctor to go deep into my biomarkers, really assess where I needed to make changes, what additional tests that I needed to take were, and I went all in. And it was then that I really began to see the benefits of exercise and eating better. I think there's a couple different groups of people. We've got groups of people that are in very, very good shape and they know how to eat and how to train and the things that they need to do to really feel good, feel energized, feel strong, and live healthy. I don't know that they're doing it to live longer. Some are, but the majority of them, I think, are doing it just because it feels good and they look good. And then there's another group of people, like I was, that was doing it because I knew it was something I should be doing. Although I wasn't focused completely on health span or longevity at this time, I was just focused on staying reasonably healthy, not getting overweight, having some energy, and that was about it. And then you got another group of people that are really out of shape, haven't really paid attention, and I think it's them that I think can really, well, everybody could have a huge impact, a positive impact if they were making the changes necessary. But I'm going to tell you a little bit of how to get your belief system right, because if you don't believe, you're not going to. But as soon as you start to believe that it's even possible, I think that'll be your ticket to join the club and jump in, because the benefits are really only for you. So I don't care at this point whether you believe you could increase your health span or longevity. I'm going to share with you that if you start doing the things to contribute to positive health, you're going to feel so freaking awesome that just that in itself is going to cause you to believe that you're doing the right stuff, because you're just going to feel better. For me, it was a little bit different. I got a little bit of a scare and I decided, okay, it's time to get healthy. And I did. And over a 90-day period, after training for a Century ride and eating perfectly healthy and getting my blood checked every 3 months, I got everything really dialed in. And the benefit of that was, man, I feel flippin' awesome. The energy was so good. I was sleeping better. My mind was clear. Work was getting done. My relationships were strong. And that was the thing that got me to want to continue. However, at that time, as I continued through my 50s, I was I was reading a book. And in that book, Peter Diamandis, the author, referred to one of his associates, Ray Kurzweil, as he is the man that has predicted so many of the things that have come true really in the domain of technology. And he basically predicted that the health span, or the age of our lifespan, is going to increase over time. And if we do these things long enough, in about 15 years or so, 20 years, we're going to reach this place where technology has moved so quickly that we're basically going to be able to abolish disease and get out in front of it, and perhaps increase our health span a very long time. In fact, many are saying now that the person that has already been born could possibly live forever. And I didn't buy into that yet, like I'm going to live forever, but I just needed to see that a gentleman who has predicted the majority of things accurately is now saying that with science and technology and all of the knowledge we have, that it is now possible to increase our health span. So I said, man, I'm in, because at the time I'm in my mid 50s. And for those of you who are in your mid 50s or beyond, I know you know what I mean. When you start thinking, man, time is moving pretty quick and I don't have a whole lot of time. You see, at 55, you think back the previous 10 or 15 years and whew, man, it went by fast. And you think, okay, at 55, if the next 10 or 15 years goes by that quick, man, I'm going to be 65, 70, and there's no getting around the numbers game saying 70 is young. So I said, okay, I believe I'm going to go all in and believe that it's possible to increase my health span, or that the science is coming. So I better get in flipping great shape so that when there is the opportunity to live longer and healthier, I'm going to be ready for it. I don't want to get to a point where I miss it. And so it was at that point I started doing more research, not only into Ray Kurzweil, but a lot of other scientists. And it was then that there were a lot of people, David Sinclair, Peter Attia, over the last 10 years have really been talking about health span and longevity. And I have been playing that game now for a while. And man, I've been playing the game so much that I'm now inspired, and I'm such a believer that I want to inspire others first to just believe, get your mindset right. Because if you do the research and you listen to enough scientists and people that you begin to trust, and they say that it's possible, I think that's going to help you believe. And for me, once I believed it was possible, and I started hearing some of the scientists greatly exaggerate the hope for living a long time, and then there's others that say, we have a chance. And I tend to kind of be towards that. I don't want to get my hopes up, but man, if the conservative thinkers are thinking we could add 5, 10, 15 years, that's not a huge increase by just starting to do things that I haven't been doing. So going back to all of you who have been exercising and eating right, you're on the right track. And if you're not a believer that you could increase health span, you know that what you're doing, you feel better, you're staying younger longer, that energy you have from eating properly and exercising recurrently is giving you, all that you need to stay healthy. It's when you're not, the people that aren't doing any of that, just start, because you will feel different almost immediately. So back to your belief system and your mindset. Once I believed that it was possible and I started doing the things, because man, now I'm in, I realized that I feel so good. If everybody's wrong, that, not everybody, but if the doctors that are predicting, the scientists that are predicting increases in lifespan, if they're wrong, okay, I'm doing things that are helping me with energy and positivity and mindset and focus and relationships and my strength and stamina. They're all getting better. So if I'm not going to live longer, I can assure you I'm going to live better. And that's my hope. So my hope is to get super, super healthy, or stay super healthy at this point, my second half of life. And so I'm 65, and if I read history and I read the medical journals, I've got another 10, 15, 20 years, and so 10 of those years are going to be in um, some kind of battle with some kind of injury or illness, some kind of chronic illness or chronic pain. And that's really what I want to avoid. So although I want to increase my longevity, I want to live longer, I don't want to live longer with chronic pain or chronic illness, right? I want to live as long as I can with the energy and health that I have today. That's the game. So if I can focus on increasing my health span and at the very least feeling healthy and just strong now, why wouldn't anybody want to do that? So that's my belief. My belief is for sure I can affect my energy levels and how I look and how I think and how I can contribute and participate and do the things in my life that I've always dreamed of. So I've chosen for the last 15 years to really believe that I can increase my health span. And in the last 15 years, there's been enough science that says I'm right. Now, can I increase my health span 60, 70 years? There's some that say I can, and there's some that say not yet. But it's in that direction. So I'm playing the game. So back to the beginning of my talk. Most people believe they can't affect their age. And I know that if you start doing some of the things you haven't been doing, you can immediately. So if you're not eating healthy and you start eating healthy, you're going to add years. If you start exercising immediately, no matter what age you're at, you're going to give yourself some time. If you stop the stuff that causes disease, like sugar, the sodas and the ultra-processed foods, alcohol has recently been determined to be a cause of the things that kill you, like cancer and heart disease and dementia. So if you stop doing some of those things or try to reduce them and start doing the other things like whole food diets and the right kinds of exercise, just that change alone is going to make you feel better, and it's going to allow you to be healthy longer. And if I'm wrong, you're going to feel better. And I can assure you of that. The first few days, it's going to suck. Like figuring out what to eat, and maybe you don't like that stuff. Maybe you like putting a lot of salt and eating a lot of stuff with sugar in it and carbs, and just maybe you're so used to that, starting to eat healthy, you're not going to enjoy it. But once you start feeling the benefits of it, if you stay consistent, like I promise you, you're going to. And it's going to fuel you for the exercise you need to do. So I've talked a lot about different types of exercise in other videos, but you need to start exercising. You can go ahead and start small, but you need to pick it up and you need to be exercising 5, 6 days a week. I say 7. Generally, I don't make it 7 because there'll be a day that I want to rest or I have something else to do, but I'm exercising and I'm eating properly most days. And I've eliminated alcohol now for 8 months, and now I'm working on the compulsive eating, and that is going to help me live a more vibrant and healthy life right now. So as you're sitting here thinking, do I even want to go through this? That's gonna be a choice of yours. I say you try to do an exercise where whatever age you're at right now, picture yourself where you're going to die. What age do you think you're going to die? I did this exercise back 20 some odd years ago with a coach of mine, Dan Sullivan. And one of the first questions he asked me was, when do you think you're going to die? And I said, that's an odd question. I don't know. He goes, no, there's a number that pops in your head. And I said, 84. And he said, okay, so what do you want to be doing? Well, first of all, I said, why do you think 84? And I said, it just came in my head. It might have been something I read about the lifespan of a male, and my grandparents and, people I've heard of die in the early 80s. So I said 84. And I was, I think, 34 at the time. No, 40. I don't know. But the second question he asked me was, what do you want to be doing the year before you die? And man, he had me actually write these things, and I started writing all the things I wanted to be doing. I wanted a great relationship with my spouse. I wanted to be active, walking on the beach, being able to travel the world, being able to play golf, having my family around me, playing games. I wanted to be just strong and healthy. I wanted to be still in business, maybe not in the same role I was in, but I wanted to be in business to impact more people. I wanted to help a lot of people and be more philanthropic. There were so many things that I wanted to be doing at 83. And after this exercise, he said, if you're doing these things at 83, or how are you going to do these things at 83? Well, basically, the lesson was you kind of start now, and you start building those relationships so your family wants to be around you, and you start building your businesses to produce revenue so that you can give to charities, and you stay in shape so you can travel and have your strength and do the things that I want to be able to do at 83. And he said, if you're doing those now and you're doing those every day and you're going through the mindset of preparing for being in great shape at 83, if you're that at 83, what are your chances of dying 1 year later? And it was an aha moment. Even it seems silly to say this now. I thought, yeah, that's the game, is to do the things that I love doing now, do them hard every day, continue to keep my strength, my weight at the right place, my mindset good, relationships good with all the people around me, my family close. And as I do that, time passes, but I really don't age that much. Now, I don't say that to brag. I measure my age, my ability or inability to do things. Like, am I able to lift the same amount of weight when I'm training? Am I able to run as fast? Am I able to jump as high? What's my weight? What's my blood pressure? Those kinds of things. And for the most part, I've stayed pretty steady with all of it, with the exception of my ability to jump higher and my ability to run as fast, because I just haven't enjoyed running. So I typically ride a bike or walk on hills or a treadmill. So I don't do a lot of running because I just haven't enjoyed it, but I compensate in other ways. So for me, I believe, and that's the topic of this video, is that most people believe because they don't believe they can change. I'm here to tell you you can change. And I don't care what you're doing right now, you could start something to improve your health. And it's not just what you eat, and it's not just if you exercise. Are you reading the right stuff? Are you learning? Are you doing things to get your mind right, to stay happy, with relationships? Because a lot of people also die of loneliness. So they lose a spouse throughout the years. They get older, they stop believing that they can do some of the things, so they stop. And your interest in things will change. Maybe you don't want to go out to the clubs, and maybe you don't want to go to sporting events all the time. Maybe you want to do other things, but isolating yourself is a recipe for aging as well. So knowing all these things, it's the changes now in your 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. Make these changes now, and you will feel better now. And that's the benefit. So as I talk about longevity and living to 120, that's a symbol for myself. That's That's my target. Like, hopefully I live a lot longer than that. But if I live a lot shorter than that, and I'm doing things that make me happy, that feel the energy, that feel good, and continuing to do all the things I enjoy doing while stopping doing the things I thought I was enjoying and realizing that I didn't necessarily enjoy those things. I just was in the habit. Um, and I start feeling better. That's the benefit of this whole thing, is get feeling really, really good right now. Keep learning about the things we need to stay away from, the things we need to do ongoingly. And as technology advances, our ability to live longer will too. But again, I want to emphasize it's not necessarily about living longer. It's about living healthy longer. And I think that's all what we want to do. So after I believed that it was possible, after reading, I don't know how many books I've read on healthspan, on health, on diet, on mindset, all the stuff, creating wealth long enough to live a long time. Those are the things I gravitate towards and I just consume. So the more I read and the more podcasts I listen to from the experts that aren't trying to sell me anything, they're just trying to tell me their stories of what they're learning. That is the stuff that's going in my head, and it's that will cause you to start believing it's possible. Because if you're in lousy shape, you either don't believe you're capable of making the changes necessary, you think it's too late, you think it's too hard. Why go through that effort? Why go through that effort of the pain of starting exercise and eating differently, maybe doing a cold plunge, maybe sitting in the sauna? All these things sound awful if you haven't done them before. They sound horrible to start, to go through soreness those first couple weeks. Why do that? Why do that if you don't believe that it's going to do you any good? So you first got to gather facts by people you trust to see, is it possible for me to feel better? Is it possible that if I feel better, that's going to fuel me to do more? And if I do more and I continue to learn more and align with people that are in that same circle, that's going to contribute to my health span in a positive way. And so if you are in this camp where you don't believe it's possible, please start listening to a bunch of podcasts from longevity experts or doctors that are really into health span. Please get some books that you can listen to or read that will tell you some facts about the possibility of living longer and being healthy, because it's that belief system that happens first. And then, if you don't believe it's going to impact your health span, start listening and paying attention to the people that are doing a little bit of exercise and watching what they eat and stopping the bad stuff and seeing how they feel. Because that's the next move for you, is if you don't believe you could increase your health span, you need to believe that you're going to feel better. And there's no debating that exercise and eating right and getting the right amount of sleep and surrounding yourself with people that are doing those same things, that you're just going to feel better. So it's interesting that when we were kids, when we were in high school, I'll say, we had a belief that we could, for the most part, do anything we wanted. We believed that at that point, we started thinking about what we didn't want to do, and we started becoming attracted to things we enjoy and what we want to do. But our belief system was, we could do it. And then somewhere along the line, we stopped believing. We started being faced with life. So we went to college and we battled through school and we found love at some point. We got married, we had kids, we bought a house, we had our job, we saved, we went through those patterns of life to get to a point where we became middle-aged with all these bad habits, and that's where we sit today. So now we have to decide, is it worth it to make those changes to feel better? Because we did have the belief system, we just abandoned it. So what I'm talking about is our second half, the second mountain. We have an opportunity here to do everything we ever dreamed of. And so I spent the first 25 minutes of this video talking about your belief system. But I really want you to really get and feel is the possibility to change your entire life for the second half of your journey. So if you're 40, 50, 60, and you believe you have 10, 20, 30, 40 years left, and you started to believe that you could make these years awesome and increase them, you now have the ability to start your second life knowing what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, and that you could do anything you want your second half of life. It's a new opportunity. It's your second mountain. And that's what I'm really about, is I want to give you hope that if it's traveling you wanted to do, if it was a business you wanted to start, you have time to find love again. You have time to feel good. You have time to accomplish things. You have time to reestablish relationships. You have time to rebuild your wealth. You have time to, you're just starting. You're starting your second life. You're not ending your life. You're starting your second journey because you've accomplished so much the first half. Now it's time for you. It's time for your second half. And our parents didn't have this ability. We didn't have all the science and technology that we do now and all the knowledge that we can increase healthspan. We're the first generation. So if you're sitting here with, I got out of shape. I lost all my money through a divorce. Or, now I'm too old to do all the things I wanted to do. I'm going to call bullshit on that. Because you have time, but you first have to believe you have time. 1, believe you have time. 2, do the things necessary to feel good right now. And I'm going to start giving you all the things to start doing. The foundational work to know what your biomarkers are, what things you need to watch for, what things you need to eat, what types of supplements you should look at, how your mindset needs to be. We're going to talk about seasonal living. We're going to talk about inspired stays. Inspired stays is something that Katie and I are going to start this next year, where we live in a new place and experience new things every year, where we're living somewhere for a month, 2 months, 3 months, going new places, embracing ourselves in the community, really focused on eating well and exercising, doing the outdoor activities that we love, really focusing on our relationships, building our businesses, and really going all in on our second half, because we have that opportunity. Don't fall into the belief that I'm too old, I don't have time to change, or I can't change. I've tried exercising before and I can't. We have to eliminate all that, those limited beliefs, because if you could do it when you were younger, you could do it now. You just have to start, and you got to start a little slower, and you got to build your confidence and your self-esteem, and then you got to go all in. So what are the benefits going to be if I go all in? Well, if you're 65, 70, 75, you're going to prolong any type of chronic illness, because all studies show that about the last 15 years of life, in fact, last week at this time, I listened to a 60-minute episode with Peter Attia, where he said at 75, doesn't matter if you're a male or female, we drop off a cliff. And so that's the focus. So if you're in your 60s right now, know that at 75, statistically, we're going to drop off a cliff. So what are you going to do to make sure that that doesn't happen? What are the things you have to be able to do at 75 that you don't drop off a cliff? We need to talk about that. We need to think about that. But first, it has to be your mind. You have to believe that I could change. And if I change, I'm going to feel better. And if I feel better and get stronger, I'm going to increase the possibility that I can live longer. Excuse me. My dogs are getting a little fight here, coughing, choking. Anyway, so number one, you need to believe. Number one, you need to believe. Look. So you really need to first focus on what you're doing today. Believe what you're doing is going to make a difference. Focus on your dream and the things you want to accomplish in the second half of your life, and you got to get after it. Follow us, because I'm going to continue to share with you. Katie's going to continue to share with you what we do, what we're doing, if it's working, if it's not. I'm doing a ton of stuff. So I'm going to share with you all the things I'm doing that are feeling good, that I feel I'm seeing a positive result from. And I'm going to share with you things that I really haven't seen any impact yet, things that I stopped doing or things that I'm going to continue to do. But we're doing a lot. I'm feeling a ton better. But my belief system's there. And that's step number one, is understand that it is possible. If you don't believe it is, I'm really sorry. I want to encourage you to do more research, talk to more people to see if it's possible that you could change some things and feel better. And if you feel better, you're going to do more things, and those things are going to cause you to have a much more fulfilling life and hopefully a longer health span. So I wish you all the best. I want you to continue to ask questions. I get a lot of feedback every single week when I talk about health span, and I get a lot of important information on things I can do, things that I might be saying that are incorrect. But I'd love for you to follow me. Please share, please comment, ask questions. But in any case, here's to our health, here's to living younger, longer.